When I started to play the tenor recorder, I realized there's a huge lack of information on the internet, on things like YouTube about it. Now, there's plenty of information on other musical instruments. There's a very thorough series on, for example, learning to play the alto saxophone, which you can find on YouTube. Great detail, great first few lessons. But I discovered there wasn't a great deal on the tenor recorder. Very, very little. Now, you search around and you do find a bit, but not very much. So I found there's things people need to be told, uh, and they're not told. So this is some of the things I wanted to cover. The first thing in question is whether it's a resin tenor recorder one is going to learn, or a wood one, because there's a big difference. So we need to look at this very, very carefully. But if it's resin, and I take it that many of the people watching this probably would only be able to afford a resin tenor recorder because the wooden ones have now become so prohibitively expensive. It didn't used to be. I used to play a wooden one when I played before, but I couldn't go back to that now because they're incredibly expensive. If you want a good one, you enter a few £100, basically. So I've got a resin. I do have the two best resin recorders you can have, the Yamaha and the Aulas. They're by far the two best recorders in general, and tenor recorders in particular you can have. There are several other choices with the alto recorder, but with tenor, they are the two absolutely excellent ones. Um, Yamaha has got a great all-round tone and just a little bit of resistance when you're blowing it, which actually gives you more control. And but it's a beautiful sound. But the lower register on the Yamaha I find tends to blow a bit sharp, and of course you have to compensate by that by reducing pressure and blowing very gently. And I'm going to show you some of these things. The Aulos, on the other hand, has got a big, big, bold sound, and they go for a bigger bore, so it's a bigger sound. You use more breath, and I understand that as being a former trumpet player with medium bore and large bore trumpets. A big bore trumpet, you've got to use a lot more puff and wind. So that's quite an important thing. So that's another consideration with the Aulos. It's best to have them both. It's got a wonderful big sound. Both low register and upper register are better with the Aulos. Yamaha, you have to be much, much more careful. But it has a beautiful sound and great intonation away from the lower register where you have to be a bit careful.